Welcome to DCPC Live Presents Scene Support, the podcast that spotlights the people behind the scenes who keep DIY and underground music alive. From the bookers and sound techs to the zine writers and venue operators, we're here to give credit where it's long overdue. I'm your host, Scott Pash, founder and owner-operator of DCPC Live, a DIY label putting a short-run vinyl of live punk, hardcore ska, and metal shows. After decades in bands and behind the scenes, I know the work it takes to keep a scene going. And today's guest is one of those people doing that work week in and week out. I have Mike from Lowerworld Booking. He books shows for friends, smaller touring bands, rising acts who deserve a shot. Based in the Boston area, Mike's helped carve out a network of shows that feel personal, thoughtful, and scene first. Whether it's a late night gig at the neighborhood bar The Sill, a sweaty set at your reliable punk bar O'Brien's, or a community-minded night at Base Salem, an all-ages sober venue, Mike's fingerprints are all over some of the best shows happening in New England's underground. He's booked bands like Unseemly or Sadlands, Megan from Work, Hellbeat, Shrug Dealer, Little Low, Teens in Trouble, and more, creating shows that matter to the people who go and bands who play. Let's talk about how you do this, Mike, and it's good to meet you, buddy.
Good to meet you as well. That was the most thoughtful intro I've ever had for anything I've ever done in my life, so I'd like to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Personally.
And considering we just met, I think I did a pretty good job.
You did. You really did. It was fucking like you were selling used cars or doing like an auction. You were just rattling off. It was great. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. My years of being a middle school teacher were always just like,
yeah,
how do I keep people's attention?
You got to be on, and one of those kids is going to burn you.
Constantly on. It's funny. I would get home from work, and my wife would be like, "How come you get home from work and we don't see this super hyperactive, funny teacher we hear about?" I was like, "Because I did that for 8 hours, and now I'm tired."
Yeah, it's like it's over. It's a bit.
It's over.
It's a bit. I'm not on stage anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it's not that it wasn't me.
Yeah.
But there's backstage me and front stage me as a teacher.
Yeah.
And you know, there was a show that had to be put on, and it was really who I was, but it was performer me. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to come home and sit around in a pair of cargo shorts and a t-shirt. It's no, I'm going to wear like crazy suits and have noisemakers and jump around like a moron. So
for sure. I think you asked a question in there, but now I'm so far gone that I don't know. Was it about me booking things?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what that's your non-band related role.
It is.
That's your scene support role.
Yep.
We can dive right into how you got into booking, or you can just start talking how you even got into the punk hardcore, like what particular scene is brought you in, and which one you're most active in, and just a natural conversation like we're hanging out at a bar, just having beers.
Nice. So I'd say that booking started out of necessity for me and my brother. Back in the day in New England, we had a website called justanotherscene.com, and it was just every band from the area, every venue. If someone knew the contact information or like the person who ran the VFW hall or whatever, the contact information was there. And me and my brother's first band, me and him sat with our home phone and we called Elks Lodges and art spaces in towns around us and just booked shows. And I guess I never really quit. I'd say the first one really was my dad went out of town, and I must have been in 9th grade, and I went to a regional high school, so like I went to a vocational school where I learned to weld. It was like 10 towns around us. So in 9th grade, I met a shitload of kids that weren't from my hometown that were like weird like me and played music. So I had like, my dad went to Florida for 2 weeks. Me and my brother had a show at our house, and 40 kids came and it was cool or whatever. But I think after that, that's when like we really got on Just Another Scene, and we're just like, we'd call like, honestly, we called places that were like 8-10 towns away that we had no business booking in really. And for some reason, all of our friends that had licenses drove out, and we were hoping that like other kids from other areas would come, and we lucked out. Like we never lost money on it, which was great. I mean, and it was like a bring your own PA type thing.
Sure.
So that's really where I got the start from it. And I feel like just being a DIY touring musician so much, I never really stopped because I always owed someone a favor, or I felt like, it's we live in a you scratch my back, I scratch yours economy, where, if I ever need a show in fucking Albany, I find a band that sounds like us. And I'm like, you just DM them. It's like, hey, if you ever want to come to Boston, I'll hook you up. Who do I talk to? And 9 times out of 10, it's just someone in that band will do it. But, there's actual physical promoters that don't just do it for that. But I think that's been my role, where like any band I'm in, if someone in my band owes someone a favor, I end up booking that show. Or and I've done it in Boston. I lived in California for 10 years, and I think that like 7 of them I was booking. I might have booked like a show or two when I lived in Michigan for a while. But yeah, just touring so much made me I had to do it. And I still, like, I don't tour anymore, but I still do it because I'm always going to be that kid who isn't, I don't know. I'm always going to be the kid who isn't the popular one who's just instantly going to get booked. So I have to dig for it. And then when kids dig for it, they find me. And I'm just like, yeah, shit, sure. Like, you deserve the same chance that I got 15, 10, whatever, how many years ago.
So that all sounds like very, very familiar. So just unpacking a little bit of that. So you had websites, but you're using home phones. So I'm saying like the early 2000s, right?
This is like, I think the house show at my dad's was 99 or 2000, and then then after that it would have been printed MapQuest directions through 2007, 2008, that whole thing.
Yep, same genre. I was doing the exact same thing. Yep. In the DC area. We had a board called Fear Board, PHEER, yep. Right? And I remember the one band I was in, late 90s, early 2000s, the Overprivileged. Oh, I want to do shows. Well, I'm just going to message every fucking band on here, every venue, and I'm going to call them, and I'm going to message them. And I'm like, oh, there's the shows at the Coffee House. How do I do shows there? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I just call them and say I'm going to do it, and then I have to bring a PA. I don't have a PA. Okay, so I've got a first band I have to book has to be one that I know has a PA. And it's the whole process, right? And then, just like you, I'm going on tour. Well, I want to go on tour. I want to play Boston, so whenever I email someone, like, hey, by the way, I'm coming on tour. I'd love to play your area. If you help me out, I promise I'll help you out if I can in the DC, Baltimore, Northern Virginia area. Yeah. I book all over the place there. And it's still kind of even now, like I manage a band called World Sucks, and I book their tours. And I still put at the end of the email, by the way, I'm a local show promoter. And if I can help you, I will. Mm-hmm. I've had to learn to say no. I don't know if you ever had that trouble as a booking person, where you want to be so helpful that you're saying yes, and then you realize that you've got like 7 shows booked in a month, mm-hmm. and you're like, how am I supposed to even do all this? I can't promote them. Yep. I can barely get to them all. You'd have a job. I don't know if you have a wife and kids, but I have a wife and kids, and I'm like, how did I wind up booking 6 shows this month and 2 festivals that I have to vend at? Yep. I'm like, I have to be able to say no. Have you ever run into that issue?
100%. I'm constantly, I do the exact thing you just did probably twice a year. Where like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a break, and then I'm like, I have 11 shows. I actually have to take that break, and then and I'm in that process right now. Like, I have 2 shows in Boston while I'm physically on tour, and I have 1, 2, 3 shows the week before those 2 shows, and then right when I get back, I'm playing 1 and booking 2. Till the end of August. And I told myself, that's it. Like, you ain't doing shit in September. If someone asks your band to play, you can play, but like, you're not booking anything. My friends didn't even ask me. I saw that they were playing in New York City. I was like, yo, you coming to Boston? They're like, yeah, early October. I was like, all right, I got it. And it's booked. I'm an idiot, like, I just want to,
I get it.
Some duty or service I feel I have to provide, because I owe so much to this culture, and I owe so much to so many people that, like, and it's, I mean, honestly, I 9 times out of 10, if I reach out, it's because I physically really actually like the band that is like, but yeah.
And I think that's where it even gets like harder though. Like I'm doing a show this Wednesday that I initially was like, oh, I think I'm going out of town with my wife for our 20th wedding anniversary. And I really try hard not to book shows that I'm not going to be present at.
I hate it.
I have found people now that are able to help me. Yep. But in years past, it was like, some venues, they have a staff that if you book the show there, they're going to be fine. But a lot of the places I book around here, they don't have a door person. They don't have a PA. They don't have anyone running around making sure things are like, running on time. So it's like, well, if I'm not there, it's literally just not a show. It's just a shit show.
It's chaos.
Expecting the bands to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I don't like to do that. But I wound up going like, okay, I'm gonna book it because they were really struggling to find a spot. And I was like, I'm sure it was hard for them. There were 3 bands on tour together,
Mm-hmm.
which is always hard.
Yep.
And they wanted an all ages venue, which is always hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one, and I was like, all right, I got to call someone and say, hey, these bands want help. I really like them. I recorded one of them for an album, but I think I'm going to be out of town. Can you run this for
Yep.
me? Because I hate to ask, but like, I see them going nowhere. And I've watched them for 2 months posting like, hey, we still need a show. And I was like, God damn it.
Yep.
I gave them contacts. Like I have a major spreadsheet. I think I shared it with you one.
Mm-hmm.
So, or like I've just had recently Trey from Jukebox Romantics. He's asked me about this one date, and I'm like, I already have like 3 shows within like 36 hours.
Yeah.
3 days or whatever of that show. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be respectful to the other shows. Like I'm already. I want to help
Yeah.
you. I love your band. I love who you are as a person. It just kills me when I can't do that.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, I lucked out because the majority of my shows nowadays are at O'Brien's. We have a lack of venues in Boston nowadays, but O'Brien's runs itself. So I don't have to be there, but 9 times out of 10, I'm physically there, even if I have to be up at 5 a.m. the next day or I'm going out of town. Like short of dying or like being 3,000 miles away, I'm going to be there. My other thing is I have to shout out my friend B-Man, who does a thing called We Book Things, because most of the shows I do nowadays, me and him just team up and do it together, because we know that if one of us can't be there, the other one can. And that way we always have the one representative. And then my fiance helps with all the flyers and stuff like that. Like she does that aspect of things. It's definitely not just me. Andrea, who's in my band Unseemlier with me, has started wanting to be more involved with booking the shows and stuff. So she's kind of doing, if like some of her friends hit her up, like she'll do it as Lower Worlds or whatever.
Okay.
So it's not just me anymore, but what sucks is I'm a control freak, so it's generally just me. Like I'm just like, it's not gonna happen right if I'm not there, and freak out.
Yep. Yeah. It's funny because I'm gonna be there this Wednesday, and Savannah was like, "Oh, so you're gonna be there? That's great. What can I help you with? Can I help pick up some food?" I was like, "No, I've got that covered."
Yeah.
How about the door? I was like, "Nope, I got Lillian working the door for me." Well, what can I help you with? I was like, "I'm not sure at the moment, but I would love to have you there because I always need an extra pair of hands." But yeah, I like things done my way.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like if someone comes up to me with a question, or like if someone's like, like even weeks before the show, I'll try to figure out backline for everyone, even if I'm not playing, because I want it to run smoother. I don't want, I feel like there's a younger contingent of kids now who just show up and don't even ask if there's backline and don't show up with all their own stuff. And then it just creates this awkward, thing where they're like, they just expect it nowadays. And I don't want anybody to feel like put out. So I'm always trying to put out these tiny fires that I experience and know and don't enjoy. Yeah. So I'm trying to even facilitate 3 weeks in advance. But,
absolutely. I have a spreadsheet that I send out for the backline. I actually bought my own backline.
Yeah.
I got 2 4x12 PVs, a 2x15 Yamaha, and I'm a drummer, so I have my drum kit.
Nice.
But I can't fit all those in my car. Yeah. So I still have to go, hey, I still could use some bands to help with the backline. And because, once again, I'm a control freak, I remember I've been to shows before where one band backlines everything, and they bring 2 guitar cabs, and one guitar cab breaks.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you only have 1 guitar cab for the whole night. Or I've seen it where one guy's bringing the whole drum set, but then the band who's bringing it is the touring band, and they got it, there's a traffic jam, and they're running late.
Yeah.
So the whole show's running late. I'm like, so I insist on there being backups of everything.
Yeah.
I don't rely on the out-of-town bands at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, you'll backline. That sounds great.
That sounds great. Will you show up on time though? What is? Have you thought about the traffic in the city you're about to drive into?
Exactly.
So many factors.
So I've learned all of those lessons. So, and it's like you said, how do you manage it? I had a show the other day, and the singer from Dragons at Noon came up to me and was like, "Hey Scott, I need something from you." I was like, "Yeah, buddy, what do you need?" He's like, "You said that with so much calm and confidence." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah.
Probably
thought of it.
It was a question of the ohms of the cabinet to make sure they go with the ohms of the garden. I was like, I have cabinets with multiple ohm settings.
Yep.
We're good. I got it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. See, I as someone who plays multiple instruments, my head has all ohm settings on it. So if I'm ever borrowing someone's cab, it's going to work. And
Yep.
then like drum stuff, I have the foresight to be like, if I'm backlining my drums, I'll be like, hey, how many crashes do you use? Because the amount of times I've had to run back to a practice space because the backline drummer only uses one crash, or doesn't use a top tom and doesn't tell anyone. Like just like
Yes.
things like that, like little tiny things that like they don't think about because that's their style, but like it's not the common thing, so you
No.
have to
No.
figure it out
It,
on the fly.
and like when I moved up here, I wound up joining a band, and it was like the first 3 shows we did was like everything's backline. I'm like, all right. So the first show I showed up, and it must have been like a 6-inch, almost like a road like salsa tom, and I'm like, really?
Dude, no.
I play hardcore punk. I was like, that's not going to work for me. It's fine. I didn't bring my drums.
Yeah.
Then the next show, I brought my drums anyway, and it was like some sort of kit that you would have used like as a 7th grade in your school concert band that was patched together. I was like, thank God I brought a kit.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10,
so,
even if I would rather bring it and leave it in the car, depending on what city I'm in.
absolutely.
Like it's like a few cities in the United States nowadays that I feel like there's like equipment theft rings that I would be very weary of, but like 9 times out of 10, I just leave it in the car, and if something fails, like you said, someone could break a bass drum head. No one has an extra bass drum. Who has an extra bass drum?
And I had that happen when I lived in Florida. I was doing a festival, and it was like my wife's birthday or anniversary or something, but we agreed to let me play. We were going to go on second, like at 2:00, and then I'd leave and we'd go on to our merry way for our weekend. And then one drummer was like, oh, well, I'll let you borrow my drum kit. And I rolled up there, and like there was duct tape all over the bass drum head, and 3 songs in, my bass drum pedal went through it. I'm like, well, that's it. Like I could change out a snare. I could change out, you can change out other things. Like you can't change out a bass drum. I didn't even bring it.
Yep.
All I brought were my breakables, my snare, and my cymbals and pedal.
Mm-hmm. You could borrow someone's snare because there's 10 of them, because everybody needs to bring one, because everybody understands that. That's why it's called a breakable. But the bass drum is not breakable. It just sometimes happens.
Yes.
So annoying.
It shouldn't happen, but just in case, you need because that's it.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to be done. There's no quick fix for this. It's not breaking a guitar string.
Yeah.
So you mentioned flyering. So like I have heard from a lot of people that they find it fascinating that I do social media and flyering. So it's good to hear that you also do paper flyers.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about like what your flyering process is? Like, like I hit multiple towns, or you have a friend helping you. Like, what do you do?
Again, I'm a control freak. I do it all on my own usually. Andrea has tried to start helping. But like when I say flyering, like even when I was booking in the Bay, when I was younger, everywhere, like in the Bay, I had a list from, I lived in Oakland or Alameda, depending on what era I was there. But if I was flyering, I had places from Richmond, California, all the way down to East Oakland. And I would literally get in my car on my day off, and I would have to check every single one of them off neurotically. And it was like, if I rolled up and there was a cop on the corner, I'd like wait a couple minutes. I'd loop back around and come back after I hit some other spots. But like, the normal shit, like the record stores I knew, 1, 2, 3, 4 Go or Gilman, I'd always put it out on the pole in front of Gilman. Some of the shows were actually at Gilman, so that was, the place to flyer for it anyway. And then if I am physically at a show, I'm handing out flyers, and it is the bane of anybody I go to a show's existence, because I'm standing there until the last person has walked out flyering.
Yep.
And then last but not least about my neurotic flyering is that at certain points I'm doing so many shows that I have a handbill on the front, and then I have the list on the back, and I call it the list, and it's just, however many long.
So I almost want to run downstairs and grab mine. So I have 4 handbills that I fold into squares, and in the back, it has the list of all my shows. Yep. And I was literally passing these out at a show the other day, because I'm like, all right, I went up to Albany. Yep. This band is coming down later in September, so I'm going to go to their show. I'm going to pass it out, but also I'm going to have all the other shows on there. And like, I put it on their table.
Yeah.
Well, like no one picks the shit up off the table. You have to hand it to
Yeah.
people. People do not passively pick up paper.
I have like a
It
whole
just doesn't
spiel
happen.
too, where I'm like, whole list of shows in the area if you're interested. And it's funny because if I know that it's an older demographic, I'll like crack a joke like, oh, it's like we're in the 90s at the Palladium, which is like, that Worcester venue that's been around forever. And younger kids like thank me. They'll be like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, no, thank you that you didn't just ignore me and make me feel like a second class citizen and make me self-conscious,
I always joke that I'm bringing paper back.
Yeah.
And like I'll go to house shows in New Paltz. It's a college here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go to those shows, and it's all full of people that easily could be my own children because I have like a daughter going to college. And I'm walking around, the 50-year-old man, handing out flyers to every kid I see.
Yeah.
But I made a lot of actually good friends at those shows.
Yeah.
I called them kids, but really, they're young adults. And they come out to my shows, and some of them are in bands, and you go out and. Like I said, I only moved here 3 years ago, and going to shows and passing out flyers is one of the best ways to get to know people.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like it's also, we've reached a point where even kids of that generation are fucking sick of screens, and they don't want Instagram to be the only place they find out about a show. And there's like I joined a message board recently called Freak Scene, which is like, like another place where I post every show that I book. But I don't feel like there's like a specific thing and TikTok got really popular, but I'm old, I guess. I'm old by the standards of that I don't have TikTok and I will never use it. And no matter how much the joke in one of my bands is band brand. Like you have to sell yourself nowadays to be in a band. And it's like all selfie videos. I won't ever do that shit. Like I just can't. It's just not for me.
Nope.
But yeah, I'm like too technologically unadvanced to be a TikToker, so my flyers aren't on there. So I'm like trying to figure out every other little way, and then weirdly, I was gonna say suspiciously, but I mean superstitiously, I feel like a show will fail if I don't flyer for it. Just like
100%.
A weird tick that I have where I'm like, nope, I didn't do enough work. It's not gonna. I didn't put in the work. It's not gonna happen.
And if I put in the work, and only 20 people show up.
Yeah.
I know I put in the work.
Exactly. You feel good. It's like
I feel good. I was like, I've done everything I can.
Yep.
There's nothing I can do that it does. Like I did 111 by 17 flyers.
Yeah.
I did 58.5 by 11 flyers. I passed out 400 handbills.
Yep.
I did 3 different social media poster posts. I did videos of the bands, photos of the bands. I did me talking about coming to the show.
Yeah.
Like I did everything I could conceivably do.
Yeah. And that's what that's the risk we all take, and I'm sure the touring bands you book know that and have dealt with that. I've dealt with it. I'm sure you've dealt with it. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I've been paid $12 in Canadian change before as the fucking door. It's what you do. This is it. It is what it is. That's the culture we exist in, and we do what we love, and it doesn't pay the bills, but it is what it is. And yeah.
And even when I lose money, because I try to make sure every band gets paid.
Yeah.
I always look at it as like, well, if I went out with my friends and I went out and had wings and beer, I'd probably be out $100 anyway.
Yeah.
So if I'm out $100, paying the touring band, and I'm out whatever I made, I was like, but I had a great time.
Yeah.
And if I had to drive to Philly to go see the band, it would cost me more money than it would be for just to pay them to come here.
Yeah, exactly. If you put on the show and they get a little kickback from the bar, but the door didn't do so well, and you lose a couple, $50, you would have done that round trip driving to Philly without food or without the hours you wasted. Or, it's whatever. But
it's all just like what's your perspective? If my goal was to like, oh, I'm building a media empire, then I'm failing miserably.
No. Cut out.
Oh yeah, are you back?
I'm back. I am back officially.
Okay.
But you said media empire was the last thing I heard.
Yeah, I was like, if I'm trying to build a media empire, then I'm failing miserably.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I'm not doing the magician tricks that the kids want on TikTok to make them come to the shows. So
I don't understand. Like my aesthetic is so simple. It's like, oh, I'll post the flyer.
Mm-hmm.
But like I see it was like they post photos of the bands and then the flyers after 3 or 4 photos of the band. I was like, why wouldn't I want the flyer first? What if they don't scroll to the right to look at the flyer on Instagram? But apparently I'm wrong, and it's the photo.
Well, what it is it's facial recognition algorithm is what I'm told, and like sometimes I will do that, but I'll do it with my like I'll like find some goofy ass construction workers like high speed viz like Macho Man Randy Savage shades on the job site, and I'll put them on and take a selfie and then put the flyer next because I know that it does like facial recognition stuff. But that also even makes me feel cheap because I don't even like posting myself on the internet as myself, not not as Lowerworld's Booking either. You know, it just is what it is.
I mean, I don't mind myself, but like, you know, now that I've gotten older, I feel bad about having like ever taken pictures of my kids.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't really ask permission for them to have the social. Of course, you know, they're totally fine with being on social media. In fact, the one time I actually tried using TikTok, you know, I worked because my kid, when she was like 12 or 13, made a video for a show I was doing in Orlando and used some sort of like line from the TV show Euphoria.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, well, that did really well on TikTok. I don't think it brought anybody out to the show, but it did really well on TikTok.
Yeah. Which is wild too, because it's like, oh, I went the extra step and it didn't benefit my show, but thousands more people saw it for some reason. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then it's like, you know, and like, what is it? There's a band 2 Man Advantage from Long Island. They have their last show coming up in October, and they were going to make a post because I'm doing a 7-inch for their last show.
Cool.
And I was like, yeah, go ahead and make a post and like, add me as a collaborator. And then I saw it and I was like, why am I not a collaborator? And I messaged him. He was like, oh, I did add you. I was like, I added you as a collaborator on Facebook. I was like, Facebook? I didn't know you could add someone as a collaborator on Facebook.
Yeah. Right.
And he's like, I didn't know you could do it on Instagram. And I was like, oh, they're old. They're older than me.
Dude.
And I'm like, oh, they don't even like, yeah.
I got a show coming up with people older than me and just the goofy things that have happened while booking it. I'm like, oh my God. You know, it's like, I get it because there's definitely things that I fall short on. But then if someone falls shorter than me, I'm like, oh, we're all fucked. It's over.
Yes.
It's just never going to work.
Oh, what happened? I was like, because I'm not, you know, I taught middle school, so I'm kind of in the know of a certain level. And, you know, I'm like, wow. I was like, fair enough. It's like I had the FUs here a little while ago in Boston. And, like, they don't have an Instagram page. It's just John Sox's page. I was like, well, why don't you make a band page? He's like, why do I need to do that?
I guess you don't. I guess you don't if you don't want to.
I mean, I don't know how to explain it other than because it's your band.
Yeah.
I can't.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, he predates the internet in punk. So, like, he can do whatever he wants, I guess. And, you know, the people who see the paper flyer that you pass out that says the FU's on are going to be fucking stoked. But the people who don't get handed that aren't even going to know, you know, like.
They're not even going to know. It's like, it's absolutely fascinating to me.
Yeah. But again, I'm glad that he's so oblivious that I'm glad that he gets to live in that reality because sadly, I wish I could and I can't, you know. Yes. I do brand stuff all the time.
You know, I don't want to entirely disparage it because I couldn't have a record label, and I'm not sure I could promote shows as well without it.
Yeah, of course.
But it's still a time sink, and it's not my skill set. I'd much rather be at Kinko's making cutout collage flyers and then hanging them all over the place with my staple gun.
Cut and paste flyers all day. I can't do Photoshop. I have no graphic design background either. It's just like I download 4 logos and then Google a cool image and just fucking tape it all together. But yeah.
Every now and then I pay someone to make a flyer. The people I work with are relatively inexpensive, like $30 for a flyer. Mm-hmm. But then there are some times where $30 is more than I can spare.
Yes.
And I just have to go and it's like, oh, let me just find a great X-Men cover and throw the things on there. Done.
If it gets to that point, I'm like, that $30 I would have spent on the flyer is going to go in the touring band's pocket. So, like, you know, it's like it's always a give and take. But yeah, I mean, luckily, half the time nowadays, a band will be like, hey, can you book the show? I'll be like, yeah, sure. And then 10 seconds later, they send me a flyer, and I'm like, oh, fucking sick. Great. Like, I don't have to do that work.
what is it? Miracle Blood. I don't know if you know
Yeah,
them
yeah, they're
from
from
your
Boston.
area. Yeah, I booked them out in Troy. And not only did they like make a flyer right away for the show, but I've seen their flyers and they have like a common
Yeah,
theme that runs through their
it's like
flyers.
almost like an
So
ad
it's
mat for like a tour,
yeah,
but it doesn't. It's not. It just is the same flyer, but with the different info and stuff. I've seen posted.
it changes up enough.
Yeah.
It changes colors. It changes, but there is an aesthetic to
Yep.
it that is still like I can tell it's a different flyer than before,
Yep.
but you can also tell that it's
It's theirs.
theirs.
Yeah, for sure.
It's theirs. It's like that aesthetic is there.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. No, they're great. I mean, that's a. If I had that skill set, like that's the one thing I've
Yeah.
always the bane of my existence of being in a band is that I can't do graphic design and I can't draw. So like that's the one thing I've always had to lean on
Yep.
someone else for.
Yep.
So,
I feel you. Same thing with the record label. I can't draw. My graphic design skills are basic. I've had to learn some stuff because I had a person who used to do it.
yep.
I don't know if you ever looked at any of my albums, but they're all like the old VML covers. Partly just I want to keep things simple because I don't have any skill sets. If I have to do it, that's
Yeah.
logo, boom, boom, yep, done. Pictures on the backtrack listing, done.
Yep. Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even do that. Kudos to you for being able to do that. I'll open Microsoft Word and take a screenshot of what I wrote down and then make that the fucking album art or something. Notepad.
I mean, I do have the benefit of having been a teacher. I've had to learn to use technology to be a teacher.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and oddly enough, I taught at a small Catholic school in Florida, and most people were like generally older women, and no offense to older Catholic school women teachers, but their technology skills often were not at the highest level.
Yeah, of course not. They probably still had Rolodexes and like shit like that.
I mean, I did have to show them all, many of them when the pandemic happened, like not only how to upload a video to like YouTube or Vimeo,
Yeah.
which I feel like that should have been doable, and this one would have been harder. I showed them how to use like a screen capture software to record stuff.
Okay.
Like, so like, which is a little bit more advanced.
Yeah, I can't do that. I know I can't do that.
Yeah.
YouTube, it says upload a video. You click one thing and throw the video in there, and it puts it in, and you're done.
That's it. And I was like, if you're doing something copyrighted, upload it to Dropbox or Google Drive. That way it won't catch the copyright.
Yep.
And you can still share it with your students. Like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay. So, but back to booking. So, so you're booking shows regularly now.
Yep.
Do you actively look out, or do you like just wait for people to come your way?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay.
The show in October I was mentioning, it's a band called Squint. They're on Sunday Drive Records. They kind of have like a Sam I Am, like a modern band. They kind of sound like Military Gun, but if you're thinking like it's like 90s nostalgia, gritty vocal type shit. And I've known the kid Brendan who sings in it for years because we used to play in hardcore bands and I'd play with his bands in the Midwest and he'd always come out to whatever shows I was playing. He's a really nice kid. I saw that he posted he was playing New York and I was just like, yo, is Squint coming to Boston? He's like, actually, yeah, we don't have a show. Within 2 seconds, it was booked at O'Brien's and, simple. But a lot of the time I just get DM'd and I'm just like, I check it out and like, I've learned to say no if it's outside my wheelhouse because I don't want to disappoint someone. So if it's like a scene that I'm not really familiar with or like, something that I just feel like it's not for me, I'll pass along links and stuff. But I've realized that like, I don't know, it'd probably be better for them to play Manchester, New Hampshire to people who actually like that style instead of Boston to people who don't, or no one because I'm not, equipped for Americana folk or, fucking, I don't know, emo rap or whatever's happening the kids love that hits me up that I don't know anything about,
Yep, I get that. So you do mostly in the hardcore or hardcore punk or metal? Like, what's your usual genres?
Honestly, that's the other thing too is I don't really have one because I've got like my next shows that are coming up. Shrug Dealer from New York City, who kind of sounds like a Wilhelm scream. And then the following Monday is Glowing Brain from Oakland, who's like Motorhead worship D-beat. And then Thursday after that is Somerset Thrower from Long Island and Hush Money from LA. So like, fest, punk, grapple, voice type shit. And then the one shortly after that I have is I have No Lights from Oakland, who's like indie rock, noise rock type shit. And then
Okay.
after that, it's Spark of Life from LA, which was like an early 2000s straight edge band on New Age Records that now they sound a little more on the like Fest Punk Sam I Am side now, but they're,
Okay.
you know, a straightforward hardcore band. And on all those shows, it's either like I think my band Little Low is playing the Shrug Dealer show, and we don't sound like Wilhelm. We sound like, you know, I guess Get Up Kids or Hey Mercedes or like early 2000s
Yeah.
emo, but enough people like both those styles in Boston where it's fine. And I'm always trying to do
Yep.
that too, where it's not like the same four bands because that just gets
Mhm.
stale to me.
It does. I have a monthly show that I do at a place called Snapper McGee's in Kingston,
Yep.
and those tend to be really
Nice.
diverse. Indie rock, ska, deathcore,
Yep.
youth crew, all on the same bill, it's $5 for like 5 or 6
Yep.
bands to get in. And I had a guy the other day. I was like, you know what, Scott? I don't always like every band, but I usually like 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, 4 out of 5 ain't bad for $5.
But dude, I mean, growing up too, the shows you went
Yeah.
to, like, tell me you didn't see Thursday and Hatebreed together, or fucking, you know, like any weird combo that you can think of. I see flyers for like the Get Up Kids and Converge, like
Yep.
polar opposites nowadays, where people don't let those things cross. But to me, I grew up on that, and that's why I don't.
Same thing.
Yeah,
DC, you'd have hardcore and
yeah.
go-go bands playing
I
together, right? It just
I
didn't
don't
matter.
I don't book one style because I grew up that way, and I also don't book one style because I listened to all that stuff. Like anytime I saw a mixed bill show, 9 times out of 10, I was my only friend who was like, I like every single one of these bands, and it would be like, yeah, like the Blood Brothers would open, and then American Nightmare, and then Fairweather, and like, you know, like it would be like three completely different bands that somehow
Yeah.
were close enough where they all played together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The band I manage, World Sucks, I had a show for them. I was like, okay, I've got World Sucks, a kind of punk metal. Then I've got like, oh, I've got Proper Punctuation from Philadelphia, it's folk punk.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've got Vintry Hill, which is pop punk. Then I've got You Betcha, which is pure emo. And just put it all together and go.
Yeah. What it is nowadays too, I feel like it's come full circle where for a while it was really divided, but now the kids are just so hungry for it that they're not differentiating as much. There's no like real specific like I remember back in the day at a certain point it became like if you like they like you'd have to put like a moniker on front of the subgenre. It'd be like backpack screamo or you know whatever the fuck you could come up with that was like the one little differentiation that made your band not like this band. And I
Sure,
don't know, it's
sure.
just wild. And I feel like kids nowadays are just like, oh, this rocks or this honks, you know, like
Yep.
whatever you
I would
like you
agree
like.
because like I moved here, particularly some of the like the younger bands. Like there's this one band in this area that I absolutely love called Meow Meow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck they are. I mean, I would probably say a mixture of like Creedence Clearwater, My Chemical Romance, Louis Armstrong, and like '90s punk rock.
Yeah.
All just kind of like thrown together. And I don't even know.
Yeah.
But it's great. But I feel like kids today, like my own daughters did like School of Rock and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, it's like, okay, you do this one semester, you do a different sound the next semester, and then you have Spotify and they have every range. Like when you and I were younger, I had to walk into a friend's house like, give me all your blank tapes, let me copy them. Like it was hard to learn music,
Oh, dude.
and so I became more narrow
Yeah.
about what I was listening to. But nowadays, it was anything they fucking want.
Yep. And I mean, back then too, I feel like that was not pre-internet, like early internet, but like I found about all the bands I loved when I was younger from a thank you list, or
Yes.
I bought a
Yes.
compilation CD. Like I remember the Plea for Peace compilations. It was at the Drive-In Piebald, the Hope Conspiracy, fucking
Yeah.
My Chemical Romance, Avenged Sevenfold. Like it was every band under the sun that was even remotely alt. And it was before
Yep.
most of them had shirts and Hot Topic or whatever. So we didn't really have that type of like easy access shit. And now they do. We didn't have that easy access shit and everybody cared so much about subdividing everything. Now they have that easy access and they don't give a fuck. They're just like, yeah, sure. Whatever comes my way.
Now, that being said, I moved here and I was told that the Hudson Valley is a hardcore scene, a heavy hardcore scene.
Yeah.
And that punk and ska don't really go here. And I was like, well, you say that until someone starts putting on shows.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, there's these punk and ska bands, and about a couple people say, "Yeah, you're bringing punk rock." But I was like, "I ain't bringing punk rock anywhere. It was always here. Somebody just had to put on the show and let them play."
Exactly. And
like, I didn't. Any person could have just started putting on the shows.
Yeah.
And I like heavy hardcore. No disrespect to it in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, there's other forms of music out there, but there were a lot of just like pure, heavy, beat down, tough guy, crowd killing hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean Poughkeepsie. I remember going to really heavy shows out there when I was younger and stuff like that, and seeing videos, like early internet videos of how wild the shows could be in that area. But yeah, I mean, it's funny too because, like you said, like you're booking ska and punk, and people are like, oh, you're bringing that stuff back. But it's funny because I feel like ska is back, and I feel like it did go away for a while, and I feel the same way about screamo. Like those, I feel like are the two biggest subgenres right now. And I don't know where it came from. I'm here for it. Like, I don't love either one personally, but it's so sick that shit is back. And,
Scream was not my normal thing. And ska, I think it was the pandemic.
Probably.
Because that's what came back for me. I was sitting at home, frustrated and annoyed. And all of a sudden, I discovered Bad Times Records.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, Catbite, Bad Operation, Kill Lincoln, and We Are the Union. And I started buying all these bands. I'm like, okay, you know what? It is really hard to be depressed and sad during the pandemic listening to this happy ska music.
Yep.
And I just bought every fucking record that record label put out.
Nice.
And those bands are all doing great now. And I don't know anything to do with, like, I didn't know who the fuck they were.
Yeah.
And I discovered the label, bought one record, and was like, oh, I'm just going to keep buying these because I have no way to spend.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a pandemic and I can't go out anywhere, so I might as well buy records.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, again, like you were saying, like, people were sick of being sad. That's what it boils down to. And ska is the soundtrack of a kid who got a free pizza slice on Friday after he got out of school early, Like, you can't not be happy.
It's the kid that's like gets totally jazzed and he has a can of like Jolt soda and some Pixie Sticks.
Exactly.
And he's like, and he's gonna sit down and watch a movie with some friends, and he couldn't be more stoked about life. Yep. And I'm like, yeah, it's how I would have been in like 7th and 8th grade when I was just loving life.
Yep, definitely, yeah. And that and the funny thing is the opposite side of the fence is now screamo's back, which is the saddest people. The happiest and the saddest people are having their heyday in underground music again. I love it. I'm here for it.
Always the extremes.
Yep, the extremes.
And then I got into it. I was at not Croydon Fest, and I was selling my records, and some kid was like, hardcore, and I was like, oh, I mostly have a lot of hardcore punk. He's like, what is hardcore punk? I was like, so when I was younger, I grew, I graduated high school in '95. I was like, one of my first compilations I got was Hardcore Volume 1 and Volume 2. Mm-hmm. Had like the Dicks, MDC, Dead Kennedys, Agent Orange, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, that was considered hardcore.
Yeah.
Because all hardcore was punk, not all punk was hardcore, but no hardcore was metal yet.
Yeah.
Nowadays, hardcore usually means metal, so I have to say hardcore punk so people know that I mean more Bad Brains and less Hatebreed.
Yep, 100%. So. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, that became a huge division too. I remember.
Yes.
And I had friends who were, they would specifically call their bands hardcore punk because in Massachusetts we have a historically heavy violent scene. And yeah, they wanted the differentiation because they were sick of getting like if you imagine, I mean, in the early 2000s. With Just Another Scene, that site that me and my brother used, if I was calling places and saying like, hey, hardcore, they would have been like, nope, sorry, 5 kids already kicked a hole in the VFW wall 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We actually had a small bar in my hometown in Stoughton called 49 Monk Street, which historically is where I think Dropkick Murphys did Do or Die record release, because even more historically, we had a recording studio called The Outpost that was made famous by Bob Mould after Husker Du, one of his roadies during Sugar, was from that town, and he knew of the studio. Okay. So all of the Sugar records were recorded there, and people held the sound quality in such high regard that it just became like where you would go to record. And from, I think, like mid 90s to probably 2010, 2011, any Boston band, all Bridge 9 releases basically were recorded there. people would fly in. I feel like Rancid's recorded there and stuff. But
Fascinating.
me and my brother tried to book 49 Monk Street one time, and they were like, yeah, as long as it's not that band Bad Luck 13. Bad Luck 13.
Right.
So someone booked
You can't
Bad
book
Luck
Bad Luck
13
13.
at
Yes.
this bar in my tiny hometown. Not tiny, but whatever. 30 minutes south of Boston.
Sure.
And the bar knew enough to be like, oh, like it was a hardcore punk show. I think a Global Threat played or something like that.
I love it.
Global Threat, State Control, Dirty Water, which was Mark from Ducky Boys, band right after he stopped doing Ducky Boys for a little bit, and then like 3 smaller local bands. But the Knox is one of them. But yeah, I called or that one might have been me and my friend Al that were booking it. But we called and said like hardcore punk, and they're like, as long as it's not Bad Luck 13. And we were like, what the hell? Because at that point we only knew about Bad Luck 13 through a BMX video for a BMX company from Philly called Little Devil, and like we didn't even really know the full lore. And then of course we looked into it and loved it. But by the time I was booking shows in my area, the older kids in Stoughton had already burnt the bridges with all of the VFWs in this town, or like, halls. So like it was really hard to actually do it right here in my town. I'd have to do it at the ones surrounding it that hadn't been burnt yet. But yeah.
I think I usually played Boston proper. I played a bar once with Dark Buster.
Oh, hell yeah.
Basement with Bones Brigade.
Basement with Bones Brigade. Was it like the basement of an actual house or the basement of like a hall?
I'm pretty sure it was the basement of a house,
Okay.
and it would have been around early 2000s,
Cool.
between 01 and 03, I would say.
Yeah. That might have been the Berwick. It was like the basement of like a house or college in Jamaica Plain or Roxbury area.
Maybe. It's so long ago.
Yeah, that was popular back then. Where would you have played with Darkbuster? The Middle East with Darkbuster?
I know it was a bar, and my drums were set up in the window.
In the window.
And I think we played with the Prophets.
Okay.
Like Money Prophets, not...
What band were you in at this point?
The Overprivileged.
The Overprivileged.
We played some drag club with Cholgas, where it was like drag queens upstairs, and then the show was downstairs. We used to come pretty often to Boston, so...
Drums in the window. Oh, was it All Asia Cafe?
I don't remember the name of it.
Okay.
I just know it was a bar, and my drums were on the stage, and then the window was behind me, and I could see the street out from where I was.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if Darkbuster and the Prophets are playing, I was possibly at that point in my life. Darkbuster actually played the first show I ever went to, and first small show I ever went to in '98 in Stoughton. But that year I also went to some like new metal radio festival. So that was my first show. My first like show that wasn't a concert was Darkbuster, and then some local bands from Stoughton called the Scullies, who actually went on to be in the River City Rebels, who were on Victory for a minute, and then the Lost City Angels was another one that they went on to be in. But yeah, I was lucky because I had an older brother, but then there was also an older generation of kids that were doing shows and playing in bands and stuff in my hometown that like kind of helped us get our foot in the door. And we got a skate park right then too, so like life was. I was the ska kid with the pizza on Friday.
Yeah,
life was fucking sick. I was going to like VFWs and the flea market that had shows in it and shit, and then going to the brand new skate park. It was wonderful.
And so you mentioned it. Do you ever? So the places you book, do they tend to be like O'Brien's? I imagine is 21 and up. Do you also book all ages places, or is O'Brien's not 21 and up?
Sunday through Wednesday, they can do 18 plus if you ask far enough in advance.
Okay.
I honestly, dude, I'm not even gonna pull any punches. Like, so many people love O'Brien's, and it's like everybody's outpost. I literally wouldn't really play there until 2013, 2014 because I was an all ages, all the time kind of person. Mid 2000s, I booked a lot of basements and warehouse spaces that we had back then. All of them are gone. But there was this one spot on Harvard's campus called the Democracy Center. It's the only building on Harvard's property that Harvard does not own. And it's just some dude. I forget the full story because it's been so long, but he owns it and he rents basically the basement is filled with his fucking junk. There's like kayaks and stacks of newspapers. The first floor is like 2 function rooms, a kitchen, and what used to be a zine library. The zine library moved out, but like it's like just basically VFW hall.
Yep.
Second, and third floor are tiny offices that he rents to political organizations for very, very cheap. Right now, it's not doing shows. I don't know what the current state of it is. I think that he was like, I think he kicked everyone out so that he could rebuild it because it was borderline going to blow over in the wind. But for a long time, I was like, all ages, all the time. It's hard here now. I think
I get it.
Moonbase up in Salem is doing
Yep.
all ages all the time, and that's great. I feel like it just became too hard at a certain point where like I couldn't even find a place nowadays, and there's a lot of like it's weird because Boston flipped for a very long time. Not I try not to hate on anyone in particular, but for a long time Berkeley students didn't come around, and like the basements were for the punks and everything. Now it seems like the basements are all Berkeley students and they're cliquey about it, and I can understand probably why they are because we wouldn't let them in back in the day. But
Sure.
I think that it's just hard to break into what basements that are left. Like I haven't been successful in booking any of them, so it's just been whatever bars I can do. There's one spot called the Cambridge Community Center, but it's just like in a weird section of town that like there's no street parking, there's no parking lot, and it's just like it's not an all the time space that you can book. So
Sure.
you gotta like.
Have you ever noticed, like, because you mentioned that, like, I could have 2 bars within 2 blocks of each other,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them just like has an aesthetic that people just like better.
Yeah.
And you have the same show in 2 different venues, and you'll get 20% more people at the one that people just like the aesthetic of the bar better.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I was like, and that to me is odd because I would just go wherever the show is. Like I don't care about the bar, I just want to go to the band.
Yeah.
But like once again, that's just me. Like I don't care.
Yeah, for me, it's never been about like. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been if I love a band enough, I'm flying into fucking Afghanistan during fucking a war to go see them. Like I'm going anywhere and everywhere if I like care enough. Yeah, it's always. I mean, there's times where like recently I grew up loving heavier stuff and metalcore and shit. I went to Poison the Well 25th anniversary of Opposite December. I saw them when the record came out in like 99 or 2000 at a spot in Boston called Karma Club. It was, and again, we were talking about mixed bills. Rise Against right when the Unraveling came out. Rufio, right when Perhaps I Suppose came out. Poison the Well, right when Opposite of December came out. And then Strung Out headlined. It's like 4 bands that sound nothing alike. 3 of them were not big yet, but just released records that would go on to be really big. I saw Poison. Yeah, it was like a 300 cap room, and I saw Poison the Well there, and then a bunch of other times. But they came through Boston. They just played this new 5,000 cap venue, and I was like, man, I had a really good time back in the day.
Yeah,
and like I appreciate
and
it
that's
for
the
what
beauty
it
of
is.
that, right?
They can't play anywhere else. I mean, I think it's sold out. So like. It's not like they could play a lower cap place, but it's just not, it wasn't the same.
It's not feasible.
No.
It's not. I've done a couple like decent sized bands that like want to do lower cap. Like I just did Big D and the Kids Table back in April, and I know they did like 3 shows in Austin.
Yep.
During that tour, they did one in mine and it sold out in 4 days.
Yep.
But like, and that was really exciting to me because I don't normally get to book bands at that size because I don't book 300 and 400 capacity venues very often.
Yeah.
So it's not where my my skill sets lie.
Yeah.
Do you ever get to book either bands? You book those bigger venues, or do you ever get to have those bigger bands say, "Hey, we want to do a small club run," and you've been able to help them out?
I actually haven't stumbled upon that because it's usually, well, I mean, the closest I would say is booking bands that have no business playing a small room in a small room. I booked, that band Spy? They're on To Live a Lie. They tour a lot.
Yeah.
It was just like meetings. It's like downstairs. It's like they serve cocktails and they make food and stuff. Upstairs, it's like a zine library / like political meeting place. It's in downtown Oakland. It's called Tamarack. Legally, you could probably fit 17 and a half people in there. I fit 150 or more in there for Spy one day. Spy, and I think Hologram from DC, actually.
Wow.
And they lost the venue, and they were like, and they knew that I like booked somewhere, some places. And the only place I could find was Tamarack, and I was like, this might not be the best idea I've ever had, but also like the people who run Tamarack are fucking cool and they're punk and they get it. And like it went off without a hitch. There was not a single problem. It was just like, that band had definitely outgrown rooms that size at that point, and we threw it anyway. But yeah, no. And like I don't want to again, I'll say it, by nature I'm a hater. But the big band in the small room thing, like sometimes I'm like, oh, this is cool. But like, also it's like, man, you're fucking it up for like, whatever touring band is trying to come through that night and has no venue. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's a give and take with the punk economy, or like, the ideals of that idea.
Nope, I get it.
But
that makes.
I didn't have anything that I needed booked at O'Brien, so Big D could have it. No big deal. But there's been other times where I've been like, motherfucker, like this type of thing is happening.
I feel like, even more than that, and I really do believe in a rising tide lifts all boats. And I've even done posts where I've shared that, like, friends of mine who are promoters who have a show 40 minutes away from me on the same night, but I know that they're raising money for something good, or it's just my friends are playing, and I'll mention 2 or 3 shows other than mine, because I'm like, I don't want you to just come to my show because you don't know about the others.
Oh, of course.
I want you to go to the show you want to go to. But my town is small.
Yeah.
And we've had it before where it's like, oh, we literally have 2 punk shows on a Sunday, both starting at 5 o'clock, a mile from each other. I was like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah. I
was like, we don't have the community big enough.
Yeah.
Their show was fine. My show was fine. No bad blood. Yeah. I love them. They love me, etc. It's just, damn, we got to really coordinate a little bit better than this.
That's the thing. Yeah, I have one that is it's like I was booking it, but then I couldn't find a venue in Massachusetts, so now it's up in New Hampshire. It's the same night as my 3 friends' bands are playing 45 minutes away in New Hampshire, and then another friend's band is literally playing in the same town at a different place. So it's like 3 shows within an hour of each other in New Hampshire that could all be the same bands. It's like, motherfucker. Like, and it sucks because it's like, it's at that point where like things are booked so far in advance that like sometimes it just slips through the cracks, or, a venue's not cool with adding a 4th band. Like it's not always, I wish there was just some database where I could just put up, I have a show August 9th, don't do anything, and then DM me if you want to collab,
And I think what tends to happen, and because I book pretty far out, is that every time it's occurred, the other show has always had a touring band.
Yeah.
And sometimes that touring band has even reached out to me to be added to the show, and I literally have a time limit when my show has to end.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just can't. I already have 6 bands. It's entirely untenable for me to add another band. And then I find out in a couple weeks, I was like, oh, they did find another space. Oh, it's a mile from where I'm at. But very nice. I'm glad they got their I'm glad they got their tour, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I owe them. No, it's just unfortunate. Like, I feel like there should be enough places outside of my town that there should be enough for everyone to go around, but it gets tight sometimes. But that's good. That means there's a lot of great bands.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like you said, rising tide lifts all ships, like.
Yep.
And I've like, that's a hard lesson I feel like I had to learn. For a long time, I was like, like have like a why me, or like a fucking, it's always like this type of thing. It's like, no, shut up. Like, it's fine. It's all going to be fine. Like, we all know. It's
all going to be fine.
We all know what we're doing, and we all know the risk we're taking, and we're just, it's all this, again, it's a you scratch my back, I scratch yours economy for punk. Like,
it's like the show I have coming up this Wednesday that I almost didn't book. I booked it, and then I got an email reminder that I was like, oh, I didn't realize that 4 months ago I bought Hot Water Music tickets for that night.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, well, they're about an hour away. Well, I'll give away my tickets for a raffle or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'll do my show. It's fine. I've seen Hot Water Music a lot of times, and
Yeah.
to be honest, I'd rather go see Triangle Fire, who I've never seen live yet,
Mhm.
rather than see Hot Water Music that I've seen a dozen times in the last 20 years. So,
Yeah.
but I'm like, you
I
know
honestly,
what? The people that are going to go to
I
that
almost
show
had
are
the
not
same
good. That
thing
would
where
come
I
down to
bought
my
tickets.
DIY all ages venues we could see. It's fine.
Yeah. I almost had the same thing with that Hot Water Music tour where I almost bought tickets and then I was like, wait, this date's ringing a bell, and it's actually that I'm at a wedding in Maine, so I wouldn't have been able to go. But I literally almost pulled the trigger on buying the tickets, and then something clicked in my head.
Yep.
But yeah, dude.
Shit like that happens, and my wife was like, she's like, oh, like we live right outside of Woodstock. She's like, oh, the Dolly Rots are playing Woodstock. I was like, what day? She's like, August 3rd. I was like, oh, that's the day of my hardcore punk show that I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, I don't really think the Dolly Rots and Ma'afa and Soji are inherently going to like.
Oh yeah.
It's a totally different fan base.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No competition there.
Yeah. No, and the venue they're playing is one called the Colony, where I go to. There's some decent shows there.
I remember the Colony,
but it tends to
where is the Colony?
Yeah, in Woodstock.
Okay, I might have played there back in the day.
It's very nice venue.
Yeah.
They don't often do a lot of like punk shows or anything like that, but every now and then they'll have a band that I'll go see or whatever. I saw the Bobby Lees there and whatnot. But the audience of the crowd just tends to be a very different. I saw the Dictators there recently.
Okay.
And I was the youngest person there.
Nice.
Like, easily by far the youngest person there, which never happens.
That feels good, right? That feels good.
It really did. I was like,
fucking rocks. But yeah.
Yeah. So, that's always part of the complications of booking shows.
Yeah.
So you say you're not going on tour anymore, but do you still do show trades for the shows you do outside of your area?
Yeah, I mean, I am doing a tour soon, but it's only 5 days. It's like Weekend Warrior shit. But my band Little Low that I play drums in is doing Philly at Ortlieb's, which is you had Neck Scars kind of recently, right?
Yeah.
So
I just had them.
It's one of I think Will from Next Stars hooked up that show. I think he's involved with that venue down in Philly, and then and we're playing with Jeff from $500 and this band Yacht Crashers, and then we do Richmond with 40 Reps and Payphones, who I like both those bands a lot, and then we're actually playing in Alexandria, at Galactic Panther, if you've heard of it. I think it's like a newer art space.
No. I haven't heard of that one yet.
But the local is this band Fond, who's putting out. They just put out a couple singles and they're really cool. And then another band called Be Safe from Maryland. And we do North Jersey with Old Currents and Mike. I forget his last name, is opening acoustic. And then that Sunday we play Connecticut, but on actually your side of Connecticut, like closer to your border in Torrington. Like near upstate New York.
That's a good run.
Yeah, I mean 5 shows is 5 shows, But yeah, that's like Other than that, both bands are playing Fest, but we're flying down because again, I have bills. I can't tour to and from Fest. I wish I could.
I'll see you at Fest then, because I'll be at Fest again. So
yeah. If anybody listening is going to Fest, Little Low is playing Friday night at the Palomino, so indoors at Boca, and then Unseemly is playing Saturday night at Lucy's, like both 9:20 and 8:20 or something like that. But yeah.
I have a record release show happening there. Both Wolfface and Celebration Summer have a split album coming out.
Oh yeah,
and that's the record release show. The live album I did for both of them.
I'm stoked to see Celebration Summer at Fest. They're on my list.
They're so good.
Yeah, me and my partner, whenever Fest gets announced, we're polar opposites. Where I open my notes app because I don't know how to use technology, and I just lay it all out, time frames, venue, all this shit. And she's like, "You're insane. It's all gonna change. Just leave it alone." And she doesn't do it until the night before in the app. And I'm just like, dude.
Yeah.
So neurotic.
I barely look at it. The buddy that I go with, he is already listening to like things and picking bands, and I'm just like, I'll figure it out when I get there. Yep. I'll just figure it out.
I'm the same way.
And I'll have to make choices. I'm like, not prepared at all, and I'll be like, every hour is like there'll be an option, a band I've seen before, maybe a band I'm friends with, or I put out their record, and maybe an unknown band. And I was like, oh, let's see what I'd certainly go try and see my friends' bands, but at the same time, like, there have been times where I said, I love your band, and you know I love your band, but I've seen your band like 5 or 6 times, and there's a band playing at the same time that I've never seen that I really want to see, and you're going to have plenty of people at your show, and you're not going to notice that my, like, balding head is not in the crowd. I love you very much.
In my older years, I've started to just do the friend stuff instead of going to see the other bands. In my younger years, I was pompous. I was like, fuck you. I'm going to see Fucked Up. I don't care what time you're playing or, like, whatever that I really wanted to see that day. I'd be like, like, there's no way I'm giving up this chance.
It has to be a pretty significant band for me to do that. That being said, who was it? Was it Gorilla Biscuits? I left partway through Gorilla Biscuits to go watch some friends of mine in a band called Protagonist.
Oh, yeah. Protagonist.
Yeah. I'm like, am I really leaving Gorilla Biscuits? I was like, yes, I am. That's how much I love them.
The one time I was bummed, I used to fill in for my friend's band from the Bay that played every year because they didn't have a consistent drummer. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm not, it doesn't matter, dude. I'll play. It doesn't matter who's playing. And then I shot myself in the foot because it was during Eve 6. And I actually really wanted to see Eve 6. So I caught the first couple songs and then ran over to the Palomino to play. But, usually there's one band every year where I'm like, I do not care who else is playing. And this year for me, it's Fucked Up just because it's been so long since I've seen them. But
I've actually never seen them. And I remember getting their record from my younger brother for either a birthday or Christmas present and going, oh, this is fucking good.
Do you remember which one?
White cover with brownish.
Hidden Worlds? 2006-ish?
Yeah. I'm going to just look it up while I'm on here. See,
Nice.
Fucked Up album covers. We got the internet.
Yeah, no,
I can
it's
look
easy.
things up.
You can make a TikTok right
First
now.
you type in Fucked Up album covers, it's not looking for the band Fucked Up. It's
like graphic.
Album covers.
It's like black metal bands album covers.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You put Toronto.
It's like it's not gonna tell me. It's like it refuse to tell me because I can't actually look at it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Because their name is Fucked Up and it won't help me. That is so. Let's say, okay, I can. Oh, no, it's not that one. There we go. It's not that one. All right, we're getting there. I don't know. I feel like it was David Comes to Life, but it doesn't look right.
Oh, yeah. David Comes to Life is good, too.
Yeah, I think it was David Comes to Life. I think they must have done an alternative cover, though, because that's not the cover that I know.
Yeah.
So, fucking bands doing represses with alternative covers.
Yeah.
Bunch of fucking people.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
yes, that was definitely David Comes to Life was definitely it.
Cool. Definitely a good one. Yeah, I mean, again, every year at Fest 2, I always try to see bands that come from far away that I know I'm probably never going to get to see again. This year, it's 3 UK bands, actually. One's on Sell the Heart called Back Teeth. One's Modern Shakes, which I've liked for a while now. I'm very happy they're playing this year. And then Sunliner.
Okay.
Yeah. And anytime there's like a decent chunk of like foreign bands like that came from far away, I'm like, all right, I'll check all of them out specifically because I know that touring here isn't that easy, and like eventually it's probably going to become even harder, or I mean currently technically it is.
It is. You should check out one of my earlier podcasts with Foreign Descent.
Okay.
Craig. He books in Orlando, and for 10 years now, he has done an all foreign-only bands on Monday nights. So, like, basically, people was like, hey, can you do a show for all these foreign bands coming in? He's like, an all foreign band only set?
Yeah.
And he did it, and it was great. And now he does Foreign Descent on Monday. Someone does Foreign Invasion on Tuesday, like 2 hours away. Someone in Tampa does another foreign something or other. So now bands can come in, and almost the same bands will play all 3 of those shows and have 3 days of touring before they get to Fest.
Nice. That's sick.
So it's super rad.
Yeah.
So
That's cool. Yeah, I'll check that
before I
episode
went to
out.
Fest when I lived there, I would just go to Foreign Descent, and I was like, "This is good. I'm very happy for
Yeah.
this." Fest was expensive and hard to get off of work sometimes.
I actually saw the flyer for Foreign Descent this year, and I was like, I should be going to Florida earlier than I am. But
Yes.
I get there Thursday. Unseemlier plays the Tampa Bay Pre-Fest, and I think Sunliner's actually on that too. One of the bands from the UK that I really want to see. So I'm stoked on that. But yeah,
I used to do pre-fest at Uncle Lou's in Orlando,
dude.
and it would actually like it would often kill me. I was like, I'm already going to be gone, for 4 days, Thursday through Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a teacher, so I still have work to do and lessons to grade and everything like that over the weekend. Like, I'm that asshole that it's like wake up and do schoolwork before I can like go to enjoy fest later in the day.
Yeah.
Because my work doesn't stop just because I take the day off.
Mm-hmm. Did you? What years were you in Florida?
2008 to 2020, January 1st, 2023.
Do you remember No Qualms?
Qualms? Mm-mm.
No Qualms. They were like a faster band. It was my friend John he actually got caught tagging at This Is For You Fest in Daytona, and then he had a court case, so he just ended up moving to Florida, and then he started a band. But one of my bands played with No Qualms at Uncle Lou's on Christmas night, and it was the most insane. It was over not 400 people, but like too many people.
Yep. Oh, no.
Again, Uncle Lou's probably
too many people for Uncle Lou's.
Yeah, Uncle Lou's probably legally fit 30 people, and it was like 200 out the door. It was like shit. Yeah, it was literally Christmas night, and I was insane. So no one really wants to be on tour on Christmas, but I was like, fuck it, we're all going on tour, and like we played. Because my band was playing 305 Fest down in Miami. It was like a faster punk hardcore grindcore type festival. Yeah, we were like, I was like so happy they were doing something on Christmas, and it ended up being the best show of tour. It was fucking insane. It was like No Qualms, maybe Direct Effect. Do you remember Direct Effect from Orlando?
So when I first got there, the first 5 years, I was so embedded. I mean, back-to-back kids, grad school, and work, that I was a little bit disconnected from my first 5 years I was there. And then I tried joining bands as a drummer, but every time I did, they wanted to like play more than I was able to.
Yeah.
So I took a couple years to just be a dad.
Nice. Yeah, that probably would have been maybe 2011, 2012 is what I would guess at this point. But yeah,
right around the time I started like getting back out there and going, okay,
nice.
I need to go to more than just like the occasional show every couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to start going to shows like I used to.
Yeah.
Like it's my blood.
Yep. Yeah, no, I mean, I took 1 year off in California, and then that was enough. Like I lived in the woods. I didn't really talk to anybody. I worked at a dog rescue, and then I had to come back to it. It just was what it was, Yeah. It's ingrained in you, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny too because like I absolutely love teaching, and now I'm fine with what I'm doing, but I'm like I have music is. It's so much part of who I am and my community that I don't really need inherently to have a job that fulfills me. I just need a job that allows me to do the things that does fulfill me.
Yeah, very true. And I feel like I always end up being like, whenever I like talk to people about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a fucking freak. Like, I don't, like all these people do their jobs and they either love their jobs or they understand like, oh, I just have to do this to, like, I'm always just like, dude, fuck this. Like, I hate working, and I should not be doing this. And it makes you feel weird, but really, you just have to find the job that allows you to do the things that do make you happy, because that's what it is nowadays. There's no.
You don't want to hate going to work, but like, you should be able to find a job that gives you enough money and gives you the flexibility of schedule to do what you want. That's the goal.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Very true.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be in a touring band again or not. I would love to go on tour some more. I haven't toured since 2022. Mm-hmm. It would definitely be like on my list of to-dos, at least to be in a band that does a lot of weekend runs.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see what the world brings.
Yeah, I feel like I'll probably do short run California, and then hopefully some version of a European next year. Hoping for that, who knows? But that's like the plan for touring going forward, because, only so much PTO nowadays. Some people in the band have unlimited PTO, which seems like a wonderful thing to have, but yeah, not me. So, and I play drums, so you can't.
I had taken time off unpaid when I didn't have it available.
Well, that's the thing. I would do that, but I feel like some jobs are like, "What do you mean you can't do that?" And it's like, well, I mean, if you don't have anything for me to do, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. You're not paying me. Just let me.
Yeah.
Just don't pay me that day. I don't care.
And that's what I've told them,
Yep.
and I've gotten, and I got away with it twice.
Damn, that's sick.
Once when I toured Europe, I was like, "Look, I'm going to be gone so many, and they're like, you only have 2 weeks of vacation." I was like, "I'll take the other weeks unpaid."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I will take the other weeks unpaid." It's like, "You're salaried." I was like, "Take the pay away. I don't care."
Yeah.
And they let me.
That's
and
sick.
then I worked at a law office, and I took my wife and I went to Paris, and I only had 1 week vacation at that place. And I was like, "Well, I'm going away for 10 days." And they're like, "You don't have 10 days vacation?" I was like, "I'll take it unpaid.
Yeah.
Don't care."
That's the thing. I mean, the only
It's the
time
cost.
it's ever worked for me was when I was working for my friends. And they'd be like, they'd also still try to pull the same shit. It's like friends that I was in bands with that like became business people, and they like ran weed delivery services in California, and I owned one with one of them for a while, and I mean, that obviously didn't pan out that well, or else I wouldn't be doing, driving dirt around in a fucking tiny 18-wheeler. But yeah, I'd be like, "Oh, dude, I'm going to Europe for 3 weeks." He'd be like, "What do you mean?" I'd be like, "Yeah, you find coverage because you know exactly who I am and you know exactly what I do. Of course, I was going to do this. Like,
Yeah.
I
hid nothing from you.
Yeah, it's like you might have changed, but you knew that I didn't change when you hired me. So I don't know why you're surprised right now that I'm taking off for 3 weeks to go to Europe. But yeah, only with my friends did that work.
Yep. Well, I mean, when I did the tour to Europe, I basically told my boss, I was like, "You can either hire someone else and train them while I'm gone, or just wait till I come back. And by the time you hire someone and train them, I'll be back. So, but I'm going. So if I have to quit, that's fine. I'll find another job when I get back. But it's up to you."
That's what I did with my high school job. Like I mentioned I went to trade school, so I did co-op, which is like if you have good enough grades, you actually go to a physical 40-hour-a-week job when you would be in school learning the trade. You like learn hands-on. Yep. So I went out on co-op in 11th grade, and then the owner of the shop I worked at expected me to work there all summer, and I was like, "No, dog. Like, I'm in high school. I'm not going to do 40 hours a week all summer in high school." It's like, "Okay, well, next summer, blah, 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 blah." And then the next summer I went on one of my first tours. It was like 10 days. And I was like, "All right, I'm heading out." And he's like, "Okay, but like when you get back, you have to be a real man," or some bullshit like that. And I was just like, "All right." And then, why is it? Why I said his name to him. Like I was like, not like belittling him, but being like, "All right, Dad," and then I worked there for 3 months after that summer. And then my band at the time went on tour again. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm leaving again." And he's like, "If you leave, you're not going to have a job when you get back." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I just did it and never went back. But
people don't seem to realize that like there are options out there.
Yeah.
And I'd rather go find a new job sometimes. So, all right, brother, man, I don't want to take up any more of your time. We're hitting like an hour and 20 minutes here. But I mean, I've really enjoyed hanging out with you. Do you drink beer?
Yeah. What?
Well, we're going to hang out and drink beer sometime soon.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Perhaps. Not soon.
Are you going to be with World Sucks, or are you just booking that tour?
I am booking it. I sometimes try and catch parts of their thing. It really depends on what work I have going on at that moment. So my work is in flux at the moment.
Cool.
So we'll wait to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
They always want me to come on the road with them. But I was like, I do have other responsibilities.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, if you do come down to Boston for that, hit me up. Or and also let me know if you do end up needing help with locals or anything. And then
I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you... Yeah, I mean, it's what we do, And if you need anybody to come up to Hudson Valley, feel free to hit me up. I'm sure one of the bands will make it happen.
I would gladly bring you. So I'm going to start booking December soon
Okay.
for the place that do the Sunday shows. So the doors are at 4, shows at 5, over by 9:30.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way a Sunday should be in my head, but you know.
Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to Mike. If you need a show in the Northeast area, his information will be in the podcast and the YouTube thing or whatever. Hit up Mike. Make sure you hit him back because you got to help each other out. It's a community that builds a scene together. Mike, thank you so much for coming, man. I really enjoyed getting to know you and hearing all the rad shit you've done in the past. What you got coming up? It's been real pleasure.
For sure. Thank you for having me, but I appreciate everything you do as well.